I'd like to welcome absolutely everybody here. We're just going to mute everybody so that they can't unmute themselves. We're in the most exciting time of the entire time I've been in Zenzino in 10 years. It has never been a better time to get started in Zenzino for so many reasons. Now, the person that we have on today as our guest speaker, he's just starting up in Zenzino too, as one of the well, actually, I'm going to have him introduce himself, so I'm not going to say too much. But I love the story of how he is getting started working with Zenzino. So I'd like to welcome onto our call Dr. Colin Robertson. Dr. Colin, welcome to our call.
Hi, Carla. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. Nice to see all these faces. Nice to meet everybody. I'm still kind of meeting new people from the Zenzino world all the time, but it's a pleasure to be here and to be able to chat with you this afternoon.
I did want to ask you that question of telling people, it's really interesting what you've done before you got started in Zenzino.
Thanks. I mean, obviously to me, it's just been life. It's just been how I've living, but it's nice that you think so. So yeah, I mean, as you can tell by the gray in the beard, I've been around for a while. I've been working in the health and fitness space and human performance space for 27 years now, really. I've been functioning in that area, everything from a clinical exercise physiologist, so working here in the UK in a big district general hospital, everything from supporting people who've had cancer, cardiovascular disease, COPD, stroke, type 2 diabetes, who've been in for musculoskeletal disorders, rehabilitation across the full range, really, in an acute, quite demanding clinical setting, all the way through to...
Always been important to you in so many ways. I mean, doing that's where you started?
It has. I mean, no matter what, I mean, I've went and worked in a lot in performance and elite sport, but I've never lost touch with health, clinical health and population health, because that's what really matters. Carla, sport's been good to me, and I've had a great time in sport, but it's just fun. The stuff that matters is health. And that's really what's motivated every single thing I've done with regards to my own development, education and practice. And really, I've always wanted to work in elite, extreme environments of sports performance, so I could take the best parts of that and make it available to people who are part of the general population, because that's the bit that matters to me. So everything from clinical exercise physiology all the way through to preparing athletes to take part in the Olympics. I'm an environmental physiologist, so I've trained people to climb Everest, row across the Atlantic, do marathon Saab, wherever the environment is trying to kill you, people like me involved to keep you alive. So everything in between, it's been a thrill. And I've spent the past 18 years more and more immersed in the research. And in fact, I best describe what I do as a knowledge broker. So when people want to know, what does the research say about a situation, if it relates to nutrition, health, or exercise, I'm the person they go to get that information and to make it so that they can put it into practice.
Okay, so health has been something that you've been involved in, and not just in a small way. You've been out on the forefront of doing things to not only change people, but Olympic things, and that's kind of crazy, Dr. Colin. But what is like your education?
I've the full hit, really. I'm a bit of a geek. So yes, science degree, master's degree in nutrition and exercise physiology, PhD, which again was looking at exercise physiology and nutrition. And I'm a senior fellow of the Higher Education Authority. I'm an accredited strength and conditioner. I'm a registered nutritionist with the British Dietetics Association. I'm an accredited kinanthropometrist. So I'm a bit of a geek, really. I like to spend time in the books and do the research and learn and develop and shape practice. So yeah.
Okay, so we've got this nutritional geek who's knowing everything there is about nutrition that you wanted to get to know. Well, because I do know another nutritional geek, and that's our founder. So I want to tie this together with how did you get introduced to Zenzino then? Because yeah, we're all kind of the nutritional geeks here too. So how did you get introduced? Where did you
Well,
first hear of Zenzino?
that's really, it's quite a story, isn't it? So just to put a bit of context on it, I'm a part of, over here in the UK, we've got Greater Manchester, which is a huge area, and I'm a part of their Health Innovations Board, looking at how we can enhance treatment outcomes for cancer and reverse type 2 diabetes through exercise and nutrition. I'm also part of the Advanced Clinical Practice Group working with Health Education England, and I'm a part of changing infrastructure across the UK with regards to physical activity. So the reason that's important is I was working a year ago, I was working on a project with regards to epigenetics. So the positive change food can make on our gene expression. And I was immersed in some research around omega-3 and the impact that the omegas have on our cellular status and therefore our health, and looking at factors of inflammation and how we can better control that. And I was here, this is my study, everybody. I was working away in my happy place, surrounded by books, online, and a good friend of mine who was high up in a really big company that you're probably aware of called Under Armour. And prior to that, he'd worked for Adidas and worked for BMW. So really quite a really successful businessman, really, with regards to sales and how they push that. And him and I go back because of a bit of a sport crossover. Anyway, he rung me up and said, Colin, what do you know about omega-3s? Because someone has told me that there's a product I should take. And Tony's had a few health issues himself in the past, working long hours, stress, took his toll on his health. And he said to me, look, I've been told that this would help. And he said, I'm really interested in this from a business point of view. So I said, Tony, I don't know anything about business, but funnily enough, I'm working on omega-3s right now. So I will take some time and go and have a look. And he said, right, the company's called Zenzino. And I've never heard of them. When most people ask me about products, I normally say, forget about it. But it was a good friend of mine, so I thought, right, I'll have a look. So I loaded up the page, and Carla, I might have told you this. I know I've told other people. I expected to spend 5 minutes having a look, ring Tony back, say it's rubbish, don't worry about it, crack on with your life. But that didn't happen. So I had a look, and the first thing I saw was the balance test. And as a researcher, I was director of a big laboratories in Greater Manchester. I thought, that's interesting. So I thought, right then, what kind of test is it? And I realized the protocol was the Trondheim test for red blood cell count. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. That's good. That's encouraging. I thought, this is interesting. And then I thought, well, where's the test getting done? Because anyone can say they're doing a test. And then I saw that this was at the VITAS labs. And anybody who works in my area knows about VITAS. They're a big, well-recognized independent labs, produced a lot of research. They're a go-to source of credible kind of scientific data analysis. So I really started to get interested. So I rung Tony back and I said, look, it's going to take me longer. This looks really interesting. I can't give you a quick answer. And then I started to really look at it. And I looked at balance oil primarily because it was the omega-3. And that was the moment that I thought, wow, this is really, really interesting. Because prior to that, I'd been writing a report about the importance of omega-3s. But I'd also been writing in this report how difficult it is, given where the world is at, in achieving the required level in order to normalize health and to actually help the cellular status. And I had written a section already that said the fish oil industry has been proven to be non-effective. All the research tells us fish oil doesn't do the job. And then I was looking at a product that, and I've said this from the start, I'm going to say it again now, balance oil is not fish oil. Balance oil is balance oil. And I had that eureka moment of going, wow, this is it. This is the solution of everything I've just been writing 10,000 words about. This is it. So I spent more time having a look. And because I was having a look and I got back to Tony, I said, Tony, you should start taking this. Start taking it tomorrow. Do your test, but start taking the product tomorrow. This is going to help. And a few people from the Zenzino world rung up and said, listen, would you come on a call and just talk about the science? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And one call turned into 20 calls. And I was talking about the science to people from all over the place. And I wasn't working for Zenzino. I wasn't selling Zenzino. And I was just spending a lot of time talking to people, and they were asking questions of going, well, what happens if you've got this amount of omega-6 and this omega-3? And it started to really build momentum to the point that then Zenzino, who obviously had people on and see me talk, they said, we'd like to talk to you. We think we'd be a good fit working together, because what they wanted to do, what they still want to do, is be the best, most scientifically research informed nutrition product in the world. That's what they want to be. They're not prepared to play second place to anyone, and they want researchers involved who are going to make that happen. So that's kind of the main part of the story, Carla.
I think everybody that's watching is kind of sitting in as much awe as I am. I mean, we all do feel like we know what we have our hands on. And I think everybody who starts to research a little bit about Zenzino at some point has an aha moment themselves, going, wait a minute, this stuff really works. This stuff can prove it works, and everybody needs it. And you can get before and after tests. I mean, this is absolutely revolutionary, incredible. It really is kind of like the future of nutrition, isn't it?
It is. It's the now and the future. This is, this is where people need to be right now, because we have the means to do it. 20 years ago, a lot of what we were doing in research and in our laboratories, you couldn't make accessible to people. It cost too much and it took too much time. But like anything else, the more and more that we do things, the more we can refine it and we can improve it, and you make it more accessible. I always remind people, remember the stuff that your pans are made out of in the kitchen, that was designed to get rockets to the moon. Now it's in your kitchen, and you're cooking eggs on it, and it's the same process through our testing. So right now we have the ability and the power to do this. And that goes back to, back in 2018, I was at a big conference, and it was about nutrition, and I was doing a keynote presentation. And I said to everyone in attendance, there were 3,000 people in the arena. And I said, why doesn't the food industry use its technology and its understanding and its know-how to do food right? Why is everything about the bottom line, the most you can make for the minimum investment for the biggest return? We have the technology to make the world well, and not sit back and watch the world keep getting sick. So why does nobody do it? And I got a lot of criticism for saying that, which is okay. I got a lot of positive response as well. But when I read the Zenzino content, and when I started to investigate the products, I went, wow, there is a company doing it. There's a company who's taken that science and that know-how and that intellect, and they're creating a solution. And that's really exciting, because to me, that's the turning of the tide. That's when we start to be a game changer, and we start to go, no, now what we're going to do is invest in people's health and start to put people on the track to be able to live better. So that's, as someone who's been working in the space I've been working for, this was something I've been calling out for forever.
So your philosophy on, we can do so much with food, nutrition, we can heal ourselves, we can do so many things to have the best bodies ever. Kind of, when you met Zenzino, it was like that fit. So tell me about how you met Zenzino. So they started to notice what you were saying, because you were like this third party person speaking about, yeah, this is not just a fish oil, this is stuff that's working. So how did you, like, you met a few Zenzino people? Tell me about how you met the office, or who did you meet?
Well, it was really quick. It's funny, isn't it? I was going about me. I was quite, by the way, folks, anyone who's listening, I was quite happy. I was working away, doing my research, collaborating with people, doing what I do. And I'd heard about this new thing, and I was going, wow, just take this. By this time, my wife's taking it, I'm taking it, the children are taking it. And I'm saying, this is wonderful. This thing exists in the world. And then someone who works with Zenzino, who you probably know, Carla, Vibeke, said, I'm coming over to the UK. Can we meet? I've got something I want to talk to you about. And I was like, sure, yeah, because I'd met Rebecca a few times on these calls. So I was like, yeah, sure. I said, well, where are you going to get to? She said, no, I'll come to you. And for those who don't know, I live quite it, you don't come to where I live by accident. It's not on the way to anywhere. I live on a peninsula in the northwest. It's like this little bit that's cut out on its own. So I thought, yeah, sure, if you're okay. So Rebecca flew over and we met up and we went for a coffee. And she said, look, you do a lot of things. Would you be prepared to give some of those things up and come and get involved in Zenzino? They'd love to speak to you. They've had a look at who you are. They've checked out your profile and what you're about and how you do it, and they'd really be keen to speak to you. So I thought, well, this is really serious now, because this is about kind of I'm from Liverpool, so it's kind of like being told Liverpool Football Club said you can come and join and start playing for them. You kind of go, wow, that's exciting. So I said, sure. And I then later that week, Orion and Dog, everyone knows who Orion is. Everyone probably knows who Dog is. They said, can you jump on a Zoom? And I had a chat to them. And that was a Friday. And I remember it distinctly because 2 days later, it was the Monday, and I was back in the laboratories in Manchester. And because of lockdown, it was the first time I've been able to go back in. And my phone rang and I didn't recognize the number. And I answered it, and it was Doug. And he said, we want you to come out to Sweden. And I said, okay, yeah, great. What are you thinking? When? He said, can you come tomorrow? He said, can you get on a flight, come to Sweden, spend a few days with us? We'd like to chat to you some more. We really think we could do some good stuff together. So I quickly got online, booked a flight, flew to Sweden, and it was great. I spent 2 days with Dog and Jacob and Henrique and everybody at head office. I was able to ask a ton of questions. It was a really intense 48, 56 hours. We went over a lot of stuff. They were really honest about where they were at and what they wanted to achieve, and where they saw I could help them fit in with that. And I asked a lot of questions, and they gave really honest, straight answers. And then next thing you know, I'm flying back home. And I remember thinking, everything about this just feels like the right thing to do. This is really how we can get in front of people all over the world and start to change health. And the reason why we can change health, because it's simple. Because we've been trying the hard way forever, getting people to modify, overhaul their diet, don't do this, do more of that. We've been trying that way. I'll come back to that in a minute and what the problems are in that. And then you go, no, take this much of something once a day, and you're going to start to change your health. And to me, the prospect of being involved in helping to shape the development of that kind of product, and the communication, the way we speak to the world, how we inform people, how we give them a better insight, how to look after themselves, not just with the product, but with everything that we put out as a message. Yeah, it was too good to be true. So yeah, flew back, landed home, and said to my wife, yeah, it looks like I'm going to be changing career.
Okay. It's incredible. It just feels like it's going so smoothly and so flowing so well, that this kind of came into your life at the right time. At the right time, Zenzino's looking at doing so many things, and you fitting together. So I'm sure people are also thinking, okay, you just said this is a way that it's changing everything,
Well,
just
I
being
can
so
talk
simple. How it's being so simple.
Mm.
Could you tell a little bit about what you're excited about? Because health, and you've known products, and you're saying you're taking this, your wife was taking it, your kids are taking it. Could you explain why, and what is it that's so simple about it? I know we have our health protocol, but what is it that really excites you about the products?
Well, yeah, I mean, this gets to the essence of it now, Carla. For years, don't probably longer than some of the people on this call have been alive for. I've been working with groups, individuals. I've been working on policy. I used to be a member of the Westminster Forum here in the UK, which lobbies government, on getting people to change their attitude towards food. and start to say, you know, we need to eat more of this, less of that, you know, and really been involved in that whole debate and trying to force change, trying to get people to recognize what's working for them and what's working against them. But the problem is really complex, because if I was to say to someone simply, okay, you need to have fatty fish, you know, salmon, wild caught salmon, tuna, mackerel, these things. But you got to have it 5 times a week to get the right amount of omega-3. Oh, and you can't have intensively aquacultured farm fish, because the nutrient availability is too low. So it's got to be really fresh, line caught, fatty fish, packed with polyunsaturated fatty acids 5 times a week. And people just go, that's not going to happen. It's too much of a change. It's too costly for a lot of people in reality. And actually accessing that, it's nigh on impossible. We all know, you've only go and have a look on Netflix. We all know what the problem is with regards to the ecology of that type of kind of fishing and creating that type of solution. There are 7.8 billion people on the planet. How are we going to give 7.8 billion people 5 fish a week to hit the minimum that they need to have? So everything works against us on economies of scale and in reality. And then you go, we can achieve the exact required outcome by you drinking this much oil every single day. We can start to control your inflammatory status. We can start to make sure that you have the right amount of omega-3 available to have a huge influence on the cell. Remember, folks, everyone who's listening to this now, whether you're a physiologist, a biologist, a biochemist, whatever your background is, you're a collection of billions of cells. We all are. That's what we are. And if you're not right at a cellular level, you're not right at any level, because that's what you're made out of. Think of your homes. Think of the bricks that built your house. Doesn't matter how nice they look, how good the windows are, how nice the driveway is. If those bricks aren't any good, that house is not going to stand up. Three Little Pigs taught us that story a long, long time ago. And you're made out of billions of cells. If those cells aren't in primed condition, then it's, I don't like to do scaremongering, but it's not a matter of will I get and develop an issue. It's when will I develop an issue? Because those cells are turning over on a daily basis. And as we start to age, that slows down a little bit. And the omega-3 within the cell, it takes control of managing those inflammatory processes. And when there's not enough, all we get is an overriding stimulus for too much of the inflammatory marker and not enough for the anti-inflammatory. The cell becomes rigid, we can't get nutrients in and we can't get toxins out. When I teach my PhD students and my master's degree students the simplicity of cellular health with nutrition in and toxins out, I say to them in simple terms, how much food could I get into you if I put tape across your mouth? 0. That's what we do to our cell when we don't consider our cellular status. So it's really, really, really important. And we can achieve this, a milestone, a fundamental step in health, by drinking that much oil. And it's not fish oil, it's balance oil. It is primarily extra virgin olive oil with high polyphenol phytonutrient content, within which we have 20 micrograms of vitamin D. Everyone knows how important vitamin D is. I've been telling people for 25 years they should take it daily. And it also has omega-3 and it has omega-9. It's not fish oil, it's balance oil. Any doctor in the world would tell you to take a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil every day because of its anti-inflammatory properties. That's there protecting the omega-3, chaperoning the omega-3 through the small intestine into the gut, out to the cell, anti-inflammatory, unleashing anti-inflammatory, controlling, optimizing the health state of that cell, and putting you in a winning position with regards to your health. And you can build off that success with other changes that you want to make. We've obviously got the health protocol, we've got products like Protect, and we've got Extend, but also your own behaviors, your physical activity, the things that you choose to do. And a key part of this, and funny enough, I was having a chat about this with a colleague of mine this morning. When we get EPA and DHA right, people start to, we know the impact this has on cognitive function, our capacity to think better, more constructively, clearly, and we start to feel more empowered about the other changes that we need to make. So all of that in that much oil, taken once a day. And then you're not trying to find 5 fish a week for you and your family and everything else. We've started to win. We've started to win already. It's genius.
I love it. I think we can feel your excitement on just our products that we're excited about too. And we really, Dr. Colin, when people hear you, they're saying, well, how come people don't know about this? And how are we going to get it out? How are we going to get this out to everybody? Because everybody needs this. And it's going to make so much difference in their health. So what are the future plans, Dr. Colin? What are we going to do to get more of this out to more people?
To me, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. We are all exposed on average to about 5,000 adverts per day. And most of those adverts will tell you anything just to get you to spend their money. Big, huge industries spending hundreds of millions every year to get us to spend billions every year on buying whatever they can put in front of us. So we're not going to fix this by doing big adverts and being that. The way we're going to fix it is like this. We're going to have conversations. We're going to have conversations with the people we know. We're going to build our network, and we are going to be able to put people in front of the researchers, the scientists, the product developers who actually sit behind what's going on. The key part of this for me, wherever I've had success across anything I've done, is being able to speak directly to people. Because when we produce research, which is great, when I produce a paper, it takes about 10 years for that to have any impact on the general society. Academics like to talk and debate, and by the time we've debated it for a decade, then somebody in the street gets to know about it and benefit from it. But this is the mechanism. This is the mechanism. Let's have conversations. Let's speak honestly. Let's talk about the research, the reality, the impact. Let's win hearts and minds. And that's already, it's already Zenzino huge. It's one of those best kept secrets. Zenzino's massive, and the momentum they're on is only gaining ground purely because no matter how you look at it and what angle you come at it from, what you find is absolute credibility in the products they are putting together. They are so well devised, informed. The product team are incredible. I've been so lucky to join such an A team. Henrique, Ida, they've just extended the team recently. They brought Emily in, Paul Clayton, Dr. Abraham. There's such good minds who are tough, really tough on the rigor. And credibility, it will always weather any storm. Truth, facts weather the storm, because you can't whittle them down, because they don't dissolve, because they are what they are. They are facts. And that's how we get this through conversation, through building networks, and giving people personal assurance.
So we're going to keep getting the word out there. We're going to keep sharing this. People that are, partnering up with Zenzino, we're on a mission to get out and get the word out. We're letting you take all the background work and getting our products. I know there's new things on the way, a lot of things to be excited about. But Zenzino is really going somewhere because they have the products that work. They have the people behind it. And we have a team of people who are passionate about getting the word out there. It's exciting.
That's the key bit. All of this, it really does. I've been involved in the health space most of my life, let's be honest. The difference that is made is by having the people who take this forward and make it happen. That's the key part of it. I'm very privileged to work behind the scenes on helping to develop and improve the product. That's a privileged place to be. But what makes this work, what changes lives on a daily basis, are the kinds of faces that I can see around me on these screens. That's where it happens. That's working in the field and changing hearts and minds, literally one person at a time. But it just catches and catches. And, I'm talking to groups all over the world. It's building ever more momentum. And that's what we need to do, because we are interfering with the system. because we are putting health right at the top of the agenda. Whereas that's decidedly different. Most people don't take that approach. You know, Orion will always say, what's the impact? What difference will this make? You know, the so what factor. What will this actually do? How will this benefit people? And then the conversations come down after that. So it's never how much is it going to cost to do it? Not interested. You know, it's never about what will the books like, what will the box look like, how much can we charge? Never starts from there. It always starts from how will people be better for taking this measurably. What does the science say? What is it that we should be doing? And then everything kind of backfills from there. And if it's the right thing to do, they're going to do it. And that's why the product range isn't massive, and it never will be, because it's always going to be about targeting things that matter and make a difference.
I love that. Okay. This has been absolutely incredible, Colin. But so I have one last question for you, because we've been through how amazing the products are, how you got started, and we can feel how excited you are for the future. So I'm going to ask my last question. What are you most excited about right now?
It's a big question. I'll tell you what I'm most excited about. And I'm going to have to just, if everyone doesn't mind, just indulge me in a few more moments. You've probably figured out I don't give one-word answers. When I was a child, and this goes back really 42 years now. Just bear with me a moment. I was in school. We had a big school assembly. And this was a real pivotal moment for me, because the teacher told us that cancer affected 1 in 5 people. And they were saying to us, you will in your lifetime meet somebody who has cancer. Now in the modern world, we know that cancer pretty much affects 1 in 2. Despite our clinical advances, our medical advances, our scientific advances, all my life, health statistics have got worse. That's the reality of where we're at. So what I'm most excited about is the fact that I genuinely believe we're going to start to reverse that, because I'm working on a new project for Zenzino right now, which is going to look at it comes from my area of background and expertise. We're going to look at a very different angle on what we can make available for people to better understand their health status. We are going to empower people to be able to look under the hood at themselves with far more reliability and accuracy, with affordability, so they understand their health status and can make really well-informed decisions on what products to take and what actions to take to improve that. So to me, I feel like this next phase of my career, which could be the next 10, 20 years, is where we press stop. We press stop on those ever decreasing health outcomes, and we start to reverse it, and we start to improve it more and more as every year goes on. So I'm excited to be positioned with such a kind of forward-thinking, ambitious and courageous business that wants to do that. And that's what excites me, is the fact that we're going to change things. We're really going to change things. That's what I'm excited about.
Wow, Dr. Colin, I'm going to leave those be our last words. We are going to make a difference. We are going to change things. And I can feel it through you. I can feel it inside of me, because I want to get the word out, and I know so many people do. So, Dr. Colin, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on here, and I want to thank you for joining up with Zenzino, bringing your knowledge in. And I know it's really going to make that change, that difference in the future. I can feel it. I know it's exciting. Thank you, Dr. Colin.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you for inviting me on this afternoon, this morning, to all of you. Thanks for hearing me out. I'm really looking forward to being able to do other presentations for you, to share our understanding and share that with you, so that it empowers you and kind of keeps you motivated with regards to what you're doing. And I also, as I said a few moments ago, I want to thank you all, because anybody who's on this is doing the part of this that really matters. You are the ones getting it out. So personally, that means so much. So thank you very much. Thanks again, Carla.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to let everybody unmute themselves. so that we can all, and Arlo will put it on our gallery view so that everybody can see each other
Thank
on
you.
here and say, thank you, Dr. Colin.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Dr.
thank you, thank you.
Robertson.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Collin.
Thank
Thank
you, everybody. Wonderful.
Bye.